Okay, everybody, welcome back to Sabado Sessions podcast. We are your hosts, and we have our very special guest, Keenan Lee, fresh from Korea right now. How's it going, bro? What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I got back from the States on Wednesday here, and I don't know what the flight and like the travel did to like my body clock, but I've gotten 3 hours of sleep in over the past 3 days and really wired right now. But I'm slowly acclimating. But I was awake for a good 49 hours not too long ago.
Fuck. Would you,
Shit.
you know what? Straight into it though. Would you say you've fully digested how you did at the Mega Nats?
You mean
No,
Arnold?
Oh, sorry,
no.
Arnold. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, yeah, I was able to take it all in immediately because I messed up. Like I didn't do nearly as well as I wanted. And like I knew that immediately. Um, like I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing. I didn't actually take a third deadlift, even though I
Mm.
think
Yeah,
I could have pushed Rondell to like because Rondell went for 400 kg, knowing that I didn't put in a third deadlift, or knowing that I put in 380, but I wasn't going to go out for it. But like maybe if I went for like 387, 390, he would have actually had to pull for the win. But on that second, I was having adductor issues in training. And on that second deadlift, I could kind of feel it going, and I just thought to myself, like, if I go for this third deadlift, I think I might split it in half. So I didn't go for it. Um, and then I also missed my third squat and third bench. Squat, that's entirely on me. I just like I just lost balance. I was late to get a start command because I was losing balance. My knees weren't locked. And then like by bench, I was just falling asleep. Like I had
Mm.
like 600 milligrams of caffeine. I thought that would be enough to keep it awake, but bench started at around 11 a.m., which is 1 a.m. in Korea. So my body just started shutting down.
Oh
But
shit.
those are like excuses. I mean I screwed the pooch. Um, so yeah, I've owned up to like underperforming, and really all I want to do now is kind of redeem myself. But the next time I'll be able to do that is 6 months from now. So I just got to keep my head down and just train, I guess.
Would you say then that the travel preparations or the lack thereof definitely like pretty much was detrimental to your performance?
It's pretty big not being able to adjust to the time difference. I feel like I got
Mm.
adjusted to the time difference like 2 days after the meet. So that's good information going into nationals.
Yeah,
But this was my first time going back to the States in 3 years because of COVID. So I didn't
yeah,
really know how my body would respond. Also, my body has spent 3 years not doing any like long international travel. So it felt like it was brand new to the entire thing. So yeah, I did fly in like 4 days in advance, but clearly that wasn't enough. But I know what to do moving forward,
yeah.
and I have a different game plan moving forward.
See that's like the oh, sorry, Jess, but it's just that's like the common theme we sort of like we talk about with all the guests that we've had, like Rondell
Mm-hmm.
with Bob and with Ashton. It's just like the whole travel situation. It does like hinder you somewhat to an extent, like
Yeah.
depending on how you are. It obviously affects individual to individual differently, but man, that's what separates like doing a nationals to like an international, which technically you did,
Mm-hmm.
um, because you had to fly to a different country, different time zone, and to you pretty much acclimatize yourself, or I tried to at least. So yeah, man, that's pretty big of you to own up. Some people would just be like, no, no, it was just this and that or the other, but I reckon that could have been the.
No, no, I don't. I think I could have done stuff better because, like, I mean, the USAPL Korea meets, Ashton and Russ both came over
Hmm.
and they crushed it, right? So, I mean, they're doing the same flight in reverse, right? So, like, I shouldn't be able to make that excuse, like, oh, the flight was the reason why I missed all three of my third attempts. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I shouldn't be able to say that if because I've seen firsthand examples of that not happening.
Yeah.
At the same time as well, Keenan is. I'm sure it is right if I said like this is the first time for you to travel internationally, go and compete on a big meet like that. You know,
Yeah.
so people like Ashton and Russ, they've done in the past. It's kind of like they have had that experience where you have to have those long flights, and how do you acclimatize? What do you do, and all of that. So again, all of these things is not even like, I'm not even saying it's an excuse, but it's a learning path for you. And I'm sure, as you said there, you now have clocked what need to be done next time. So it's not so much an excuse, but it is the factor that has affected your performance. That's period.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Talking about it with my coach, like I'm not letting my ego get in the way when I'm talking about him about preparations for Nats. Like we know that travel is a factor, and that's something that we're gonna have to keep in mind when deciding like what my taper is gonna look like, what my peak's gonna look like, when I'm gonna fly in. So like I can be objective there, but like when I'm just explaining what went wrong at the Arnold, like it's just not in my character to say, "Oh, it was the flight."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, of course, of
it's
course.
understandable.
But
So in
on
terms of
the yeah, go on,
go on,
James.
Joe.
No, no,
Oh,
you go.
okay. I'm just going to ask about. I know since we're still in the Arnold, before probably we move out from the Arnold. So what was your experience as a lifter in terms of like flying to this big meet, because the Arnold in America is huge. So how was your experience?
Yeah, I mean, like there's multiple sides to this. Like the first thing is like I am an American. Like I identify myself as an American more so than I do Korean,
Hmm.
culturally and also like language and food. And the food was a big thing. I landed in Columbus and I was taking an Uber to my hotel. I just see like Chipotle and like Panda Express on my way to the hotel, and I'm just going, I need to have all of these things. And I did. So my body weight when I landed was like 103. I weighed in at 104.5.
Oh shit.
Just because I ate like a fat ass for 4 days.
But
I couldn't control myself, but like next time it's not gonna happen because it was my first time back in the States after 3 years. I just
so you
need
just
all
got
of
a bit excited. Nah,
yeah.
I think I reckon I would have done the same, man. Because that like I'm very food motivated. I guess you are too. But my question though was the what was your reception like when you returned back to
Oh,
Korea? Like
when I
obviously
returned back
you're
to
yeah, man.
no
Because
one
dude, you're a
no
superstar there. Like
no,
pretty
I'm
much.
not. No, I'm not. No one really cares in Korea. Powerlifting is a really small sport. Like it's a small sport worldwide to begin.
Hmm.
Like it's not an Olympic sport, and it's kind of like this grassroots community. But
But within
in
the
Korea,
community itself, though, I reckon
yeah.
everyone knows you, man.
I mean, everyone already does. But like they don't like, and I don't want them to. They don't really treat me any different.
Mm.
Also, like I kind of stay out of like these bigger like I stay out of the powerlifting community here in Korea. I think it's really toxic and like I don't really have a good relationship with most of the Korean powerlifting community. So it's like I'm not gonna get this uh like hero's welcome when I land.
Mm.
Or when I go back to a gym, like people aren't going to congratulate me on my pro card unless they're like actual personal friends of mine.
Hmm.
Because there is a lot of animosity between myself and members of
The
the
community.
powerlifting community here. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad that you brought up the toxicity over there. I mean, obviously we find some toxicity over here. From myself personally, entertaining to an extent, but man, with all that's been coming to light recently in Korea, I don't know if you're like pretty much in the know of it all or updated anyway. It's just like the USAPL thing, and then the IPF Korea like banning people because they hosted not even a competition, but just like an event and shit
Yeah.
going on like that. I mean, that's wild, bro.
Oh, it goes way deeper than that. Like, cause I'm close with the USAPL-Korea state chair,
Hmm.
and he's kind of the one bringing all of this to light.
Hmm.
Uh, and I want to help him out with it. Like, um, I don't like being big on social media. I'm normally a pretty private person, but like I just went to a couple of meets and now I have like 11,000 followers on Instagram. I might as well use it for something.
Yeah.
Um, and this is something that really want to bring to light. And the most recent thing is basically there's video evidence of sexual harassment and molestation happening within IPF Korea.
I saw that,
Right.
bro.
So
Insane.
yes, and that goes beyond powerlifting. That's just disgusting, that shouldn't go unpunished. And all of that needs to go. Like the stuff with, you know, banning IPF Korea members because they hosted a seminar, right? Look, even though none of that's in the IPF rulebook, that just seems like petty shit. But this is like legally and morally like disgusting. And I want to make it as big of a deal as possible.
Yeah, I completely understand. We would too, obviously, like over here, if it was the same thing was to occur. It's just if if by any chance, do you have any like sort of idea? Because I've always when it first popped off, I was curious, like what is setting this off? Like why is there such a huge sort of push from IPF Korea as well, from like banning to like obviously there's like these videos like surfacing on social media of like sexual harassment and molestation and whatnot. That's
Yeah.
insane. Like what could
Yeah.
what could have, where did it all stem from potentially?
Okay, so like I feel like with the sexual harassment stuff, like you kind of have to, if you're basically stepping on glass throughout with all of it, because um the victims, like they're the ones who need to consent to it being made public. Right, and like you can't really do anything without their consent and without any actual evidence of it, right? Because then it's just hearsay. um so but I think the reason why people are able to come forth now is because there's strength in numbers. And like this guy and like the leadership in IPF Korea, they've been getting away with stuff like this for so long because they've just essentially been bullying people into, you know, staying quiet, or like, you know, shut up or we'll ban you and you won't have a chance to compete internationally. And that's a goal for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the people that they went after, like within Korea's powerlifting community, they're pretty big. They're well known and they're well liked. And they competed for Korea at the Asian Championships in Dubai last year. Right, that was 3 months ago now, 4 months ago. Right, so, and these people I think have done actually a lot for IPF Korea as well. So it everyone saw it as super petty and like a massive stab in the back.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, and those guys, they work as coaches at a gym called Train True here in Korea, and the owner, who is also the USAPL state chair, took that really personally, and he's like committed to just taking down IPF Korea at this point. And like through what he's posted, through the information that he's made public, um, I want to say that I maybe had some small part in this, with like even the USAPL's like official page, like using a picture of me and saying, you know, compete where you want. I think like that has gotten more notice. And so like I feel like people are able to speak up now, right?
Yeah.
And
I think go on.
I think people they are speaking up now, and they're able to do it in a way. Daniel, the state chair, he's made it ways for people to speak up with while remaining anonymous, right? While remaining like comfortable with what they say and what they put forth. And so like the evidence is just mounting now.
Yeah, I listened to the podcast he did actually. David Kim, right?
Daniel Kim, yeah.
Oh, Daniel Kim, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, he did a podcast with Barber Radio, so with Canon. And man, the stuff that he was like sharing, I was in disbelief, because it really did sound petty. It really sounded, well, childish, really. Like, they're trying to get explanation as to why things or XYZ happened,
right?
And no answers came.
There's no response. They're getting ghosted. They're getting ghosted by a powerlifting federation, not by a person, like by an entire organization.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, right? I think I was even talking to one of the Korean members, the girl, about this last week. But I think I mentioned about, you know, if you're fighting a federation, basically, let's say like the Korean IPF affiliate federation there, if you can't get answers, there's always a route where you can get to the IPF. So in terms of like I'm saying, like, why don't you reach out to Gaston? Why don't you reach out to the secretary? So there is always those routes. So these are the things that can be considered. Because things that you mentioned, like sexual harassment, no matter whether you are USAPL or you are IPF or you are whatever federation, it is unacceptable. It's not something that people should accept and people should just think like, oh, yeah, that's a normal thing. Oh, yeah, we'll deal with it. No. You know, everybody have to stand up for this. It doesn't matter what federation you are. You have to stand up for this because this is wrong. This is the abuse of power, which is really wrong. So have you guys considered those routes that saying, okay, since this year we can't get answers here, can we go for different routes?
We're not at this point. Like I feel like IPF Korea has showed its colors, right? That show that they're not professional, but they're also illegal in so many different ways. Right? And to expect like an official professional like response to this is stupid at this point. I believe what Daniel's trying to do now is take this to court, right? For a lot of different reasons, right?
Of course, yeah.
So we're just going to be using the justice system on our side. Like I don't, because honestly, I don't think we can rely on IPF's headquarters to do anything. And also like the IPF can do whatever they want with, you know, making sure that IPF Korea goes by the guidelines and stuff like that. Uses the proper equipment, doesn't ban people for petty reasons, stuff like that. So make sure they follow a code. But the like the fraud and the tax evasion and the sexual harassment, that's stuff that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, of course.
Within the legal system, right?
Yeah,
because people need to face punishment for that outside of just the IPF going, yeah, do as we say. Like that's not good enough.
Agree.
You know what? Let's take it back. Let's ask questions that are you like sort of more focused. So you're part of USAPL Korea. It was pretty much born from like, you know, the split and the USAPL itself as a brand wanting to expand to other nations, right? And you yourself, I believe, you're on the forefront of like, you know, how good USAPL Korea is going right now, because man, like you're going to the Arnolds, you'll probably go to the nationals, the USAPL nationals as well. The growth of it, right, since the beginning in USAPL Korea, would you say it was relatively fast, and has it grown even more so since that? I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but it's just a bit of it. But since the whole IPF Korea being as it is now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like its initial inception. Like I don't know when Daniel actually like took control of it. But the statement that they're gonna host a USAPL Korea meet came in, I believe, June of 2022. Right. So it hasn't even been a year yet. It's been 9 months. Now the big kicker here is that Ashton didn't come to compete because I was competing. He didn't know that I was competing until like a few weeks out. Ashton competed because he lived in Korea, right? He just wanted to visit, right? And so like getting Ashton on board with this was huge, right? That like it was huge to within Korea's powerlifting community. I don't really know if Ashton's decision to compete in Korea like garnered any buzz anywhere else, but at least it was really big here. Now, and Daniel is like a super perfectionist, so he's really professional about everything. So like the quality of the meet was excellent. Like I think it like we have limitations size wise, right, with the warm up room and stuff like that. But like just viewing the meet, like the viewing experience through the live stream and stuff like that, that like it rivals anything, I think. And then on top of that, you have Ash and I going head to head and basically doing the most exciting thing in powerlifting, leaving it to a final deadlift. All right.
Yeah, of course.
He beat me on body weight, and I will say this until I die. I should have taken my socks off during weigh-ins. Because
that could have been the game changer.
Nah, I outweighed him by 80 grams. So
insane, man.
No.
103.74 and 103.82, 80 grams.
So from then forward, would you say like you've been taking like socks off, everything
Socks off
away?
I'm butt ass naked on that scale.
So I mean, I think you were on the King of the Lift podcast. I know you were talking about this about Ashton coming there. Even Ashton when they spoke about was he a setup? Because realistically, Keenan, let not be around the bushes here. But when we saw your performance against Ashton, it was like someone out of nowhere. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying Asians are not strong. In powerlifting, like the story itself, especially in full power, you guys are more Asians are more specialized in bench press, especially the Japanese and all of that.
Right.
So, but in full power, to see a 105 guy with a over 350 squats, I was just like, how the this is a setup. This is no right. Do you know what I mean? So yourself, do you when Ashton was coming, was you there sitting thinking, oh my god, these people they ain't got no idea what's coming. I am coming.
Absolutely. Like I'm super competitive. So it's also what keeps me grounded. Like I don't think I've accomplished anything in powerlifting at this point. Like I feel like the meets I've competed at, the three of them that feature like other top level lifters, Ashton, Russ, and then the Arnold, I'm 1-2 in those meets. Right. I only won the one in December. And like so that competitiveness kind of keeps me grounded, but it also like means I'm confident in myself. Right? Yeah. I knew that I could put up an amazing performance. Right? No one would have expected it, and I kind of get what you mean with the with the racing, and that's something that I want to change the narrative on, and I feel like I'm in a position to do so because it's not just that I'm ethnically Korean. Well, I was born here, so I'm not just ethnically Korean. I am Korean. I'm a Korean citizen, and I've done my military service here as well. Like so, all of that. But like, there's other aspects of it as well because like Asian lifters, if you see them like in powerlifting, there are lighter weight classes. Generally speaking, they're in the 75s, like 83 at the most. Yeah, as you said, they specialize in the bench press, or some of them specialize in the deadlift. You rarely see an Asian powerlifter with a huge squat, but that's my best lift. And also at the same time, I'm tall. Like like a lot of things about me don't really make sense in the like what people traditionally think about what a powerlifter should be, what a powerlifter should look like. So I feel like I'm a good representative to kind of change the narrative on that. And when I was at the Arnold, when like people of Asian descent were coming up to me and saying that what I'm doing is inspirational, that like makes me feel really good that I was able to do that.
Bro, it should,
And like,
man. I mean,
yeah,
you're literally standing up for like the Asian community within powerlifting, which is a community within a community, if that makes sense.
right. So that made me feel really good while I was over in the States. And part of the reason why I have animosity towards the Korean powerlifting community here is because I'm the only person who gets out of meet drug tested in Korea. But pretty much I feel like 90% of the people here think that I'm doping. Right, because they can't.
Some of that they're just hating you, bro.
So they can't fathom the fact that someone could do this, right? So they have to come up with an excuse for it. And because I live here, because Korea is such a small country, but also the powerlifting community is mostly located within Seoul. So like you see each other all the time. You hear stuff, and people I hear it all the time. Like people saying stuff behind my back. So it's kind of why like I try to distance myself from the community here. I had a great time at the Arnold though, meeting everyone. Like it's such a supportive environment over there.
Yeah,
do you feel?
Yeah.
Sorry, Joey. Just one more on that because just following to that, do you feel, especially as you said, like you want to break that stigma of people thinking Asians can't do this and all of that? Again, as you said, you're tall. You don't look like your traditional powerlifter, and then to be honest, if you're facing the other way, probably you don't even look like an Asian because you're a monster of a man. Do you know what I mean? So would you say all of that comes with that extra? Are you feeling pressured? It's kind of you have the whole continent on your shoulders because it's true.
I don't really feel any pressure with that. I kind of do think that it's like funny. Like if you were to take the top 10 lifters in the USAPL, it'd be a sea of black faces and then my face. Like I think that's pretty funny. I'm kind of proud of that, but I don't really feel the pressure to represent Asia, I want to win. That's my primary motivator to do any of this. Like anything else that comes on top of that, like building up the pride within the Asian powerlifting community, like letting people know that you can do this, you can achieve this. That's great, but it's not why I'm doing this. I don't really
Yeah.
feel too much pressure.
It's probably more so like just uh like a byproduct that wasn't done on purpose, pretty much. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you may not have intended it to do so, but it is doing it still. I'm pretty sure like you said, you were inspiring like other Asian dudes out there that are probably big as you or bigger, or
Hmm.
maybe in the lighter weight classes, to inspire them to be like, all right, cool. If he can do it, shit,
Yeah.
why can't I? Like, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like with especially with Asian people, Asian Americans living in America, like you kind of do feel that inferiority complex a bit.
Mm.
Like because I had a late growth spurt as well in high school, so I was really short in high school up until like my last 2 years. So
So
I
what
kind
was
of
the heights like prior
what,
to
what unit do you guys use?
feet, bro?
Feet? All right.
Feet, meters, whatever.
I was around I think I was around 5'5" in my freshman year. I think that was like and oh, so like the growth spurts happened from my freshman to sophomore year, and then my sophomore to junior year. Those were the big growth spurts. But I was tiny in middle school, and then my first year of high school, and then it jumped to like 5'9", and then 5'11", and then like I'm 6'1" 6'1" right now. Um, but like yeah, there was a period of time from like when I was around 8 years old to when I was 14 that I was really one of the smallest kids in school. Um,
Was
and
it the case where like you know, you got back from like the summer break and then you're just like shit, like
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
everyone's leaving me, bro?
yeah. It felt like it definitely felt that way. Like everyone was just hitting puberty way faster than I was.
Yeah.
Because like everyone's voice was like dropping an octave below mine.
Mm.
Like I know I have this like really deep voice now, but it definitely wasn't like that when I was a kid. um, so so like if I guess if I was just like white or like a different ethnicity when I went during that time, like I wouldn't have thought like I wouldn't have blamed it on race, but I thought that that was a factor.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and so like if I can gets like young kids to like if I can show young kids that it's not that it's not your race that's holding you back. Like you should be able to picture yourself at the top of whatever your sport you're competing in.
You know what? I'm gonna ask you a question that we pretty much asked Ashton as well, and it's what we're talking about now. Kind of touches that because you said, you know, like you're not always like a product of your background ethnicity. But
Hmm.
when it comes to the realm of powerlifting, right? Would you
Hmm.
say genetics plays a role more so than hard work, or is it the other way around?
I think that um I think those are kind of two sides of the same coin in that there are people who are genetically gifted to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like the psychological aspect of genetics, I think, is just as important as the physiological aspects of genetics, like being born with the bone structure or the bone density and like the correct muscle insertions and the ability to put on muscle quickly and to build strength quickly and to strong and stable joints. Yeah, that's all genetics as well. Um, but like this kind of has to do with how someone is raised and what their upbringing is like. But yeah, but your parents pass down whatever personality that they have onto you, right? And then that also determines how hard you're going to work, how much effort you're going to put into things, whether you're one to make an excuse or whether you're able to own up to it, stuff like that. And I think that what sets me and a lot of these other top lifters apart from other people is that in even in training we're like killers in training like
Mm.
um we have that mental edge and because it's not just a physical thing but yeah,
Would
I mean it does play a role though.
would you say though, like the whole Asian upbringing played a huge
Hmm.
role into your mental game in it all? Because obviously Asian upbringing as well for me, like A plus, why not A plus plus, bro? Like what's going on here? Like, is it that sort of what pushes you, I suppose?
I think it used to be, because like yeah, Asian upbringing, like stereotypical Asian upbringing stereotypes exist for a reason.
Mm.
So like, you hear about all the time, like someone gets compared by their mom to another more successful Asian kid down the street. Like that happens
Yeah,
all the time. Like
yeah,
like like I learned violin when I was a kid because of course I did.
yeah.
And like my mom was just like, "Why don't you play violin as good as this guy?" Because I hate it. Because I don't want to get good at it. But yeah, that definitely exists. So like you're always like comparing yourself to others. And initially, I think when I started powerlifting, I was seeing people way lighter than me, like squat 300 kilos and stuff like that, and that was definitely a big motivator for me.
Hmm.
Now it's not that I'm comparing myself to like a Bob Ashton or Rondell. It's I normally, like if I underperform at a meet, I get disappointed in myself. I expect more from myself now. So it's more of a competition with myself now. I don't
Hmm.
think that has to do with the Asian upbringing, but earlier in my life and earlier in my powerlifting career, I definitely think that played a role.
Okay,
I
right,
mean,
man.
I've got a question for you, right? I mean, probably this is probably bringing you back a little bit, if you're not. You mentioned that you go dual nationalities. I mean, you're Americans and you're Korean,
Yeah, I'm a dual
and
citizen. Yeah.
yeah, and now you are competing in the USAPL Korea. But you pretty much had the opportunity to compete. If the USA, so if the IPF Korea didn't allow it, the route was, as we explained there, we're not going to go back to it. It was not something that fits you as a person or everything else is going on. But you had the opportunity to go through P and nuts. Did you
Yeah,
know that?
I do actually. I don't really know if because I mean PA Nats has to follow IPF rules for doping as well, and I feel like I have to live in the states to be able to get drug tested regularly for PA Nats it's because USAPL has an affiliate in Korea. I can do my how to be drug testing here.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel for PA Nats, I'd have to fly to the states like once every 3 months just to get drug tested.
I think you should find out that one because the reason I'm saying that is because you pretty much put your location on your data, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put your location on the data, and they find, as you said, like you. I don't necessarily believe you have to be in America to be tested because the data you put, the details you put, they will chase you where you are through the data you put on your details there. So that's probably like, hey, I don't have all the information, but that's all I've heard. So that's all I know. I think you should a little bit find out that. The reason I brought this up is again, you guys, your upbringing as Asian and me as African, we know success for our families, everything, right? I mean, as Joey said, if you get A plus, my mom and dad will be like, "Why don't you get A plus plus?" If you get A plus plus, it'll be like, "Oh, why don't you get 3 4? Why can't you do 2 degrees?"
Mm-hmm.
And shit like that. We all go through that. So my point is, being a world champion, what does it mean to you?
Being a world champion, um, if I won IPF Worlds, which to be honest, like I might sound cocky, I easily could. Like my worst totals are 20 above the world record.
Hmm.
So like it wouldn't be I don't think it would be a challenge for me. Um, but so if I won IPF Worlds, I wouldn't think that I'm the best in the world unless that total would be what Bob and Ashton were doing in the USAPL, right?
Hmm.
I want the opportunity to compete against them at the same time on the same platform, under the same judging, under the same rules, same circumstances, and I want to come out with a win against them. That's what I want, and that's to me like even if the title isn't there, that's what would solidify me as the best. Now,
So
if I do that, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. So you're, I know you haven't finished, and I do want you to finish. It's just my take on it now is that for you to feel as though you are the best, you have to go against the best. And if they're not in the IPF, they're going to be in the SAPL. And if it was the other way around, you'd probably be in the IPF too, right? So you're not,
Exactly.
and that being said, you're not motivated by the money. You're not motivated by prestige. You're motivated by the fact that you can wholeheartedly say you went up against the best and you beat them, and therefore you are the best.
Yeah, yeah. It's entirely driven by that. Because like, I mean, money for one thing. I work as a coach, and like while my performance as an athlete does help with getting me more clientele and stuff like that, I'm not like, I don't need to do much better than how I'm doing right now to succeed as a coach. Like my client list are already like full, and so um, it's definitely not that. It's definitely not the prestige. I do really enjoy not being in the spotlight. It's just, yeah, it's just winning.
Yeah, I mean, winning gets you in the spotlight though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an unfortunate byproduct
Yeah,
that I've noticed over the past few months.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing as you mentioned there. Like the work you're doing on the platform is speaking for itself in terms of like motivating the whole community, motivating everybody in your country. And the funny thing is, it's not even just everybody in your country. Your performance on the platform is motivating pretty much everyone around the world that follow powerlifting, right? Or every single underdog out there that's thinking, oh, I can't do it, or this is hard, this person is hitting this PB. You know, you've motivated those people to step on the platform and then give it a go. Do you know what I mean? It's not just, I'm an IPF lifter and you are USAPL, but I love watching your training, right? I watch your training, I watch your meet. That meet with Ashton, I was here in my living room like up to like 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm still waiting. When is it going to start? When is it going to start? When is it going to start? Do you know what I mean? Is it because of the excitement to see how top lifters are doing it? So again, that brings me back to, and here we're not campaigning here to lure you or Ashton or Bob to the IPF. We're not doing that in this podcast. But there is an opportunity, there's a route for you guys to come to IPF because you're not going to get it back because you've never started with IPF. So it means you can come. So, because I know when we had Bob was thinking about it. Even when we had Ashton was like, I would love to be a world champion, was thinking about it. Is this something that probably in your head you're thinking, okay, these guys jump ship. I need to find some route to meet myself as well to jump ship.
I have my goals within the USAPL. It's to win nationals, and now that I have my pro card, it's gonna be to try to win the pro series. If I don't know if I like have I'm greedy enough to want to repeat that. Like I want to win. So if I do that, I don't really see anything stopping me from going the IPF route, and you know, having that world title would definitely mean something. So yeah, I can't say that I haven't thought about it, and it could happen within the next few years.
Yeah.
So Joey, can we just end there so that we got what we wanted?
No, actually, I want to bring it back to. I know he wanted to tell us something before even we start recording, bro, about the military service you mentioned earlier that you did. You had a story,
Yeah.
man. Like I've been dying to hear it since you mentioned it
All right.
that you did.
Yeah, so I did my military service. So the reason I actually came back to Korea after college was to serve in the military here. Not that I wanted to, they make you do it. And like my Korean isn't great, and my understanding of the Korean culture is even worse. So I had a really hard time, and like I really didn't want to be there, and I really didn't want to do anything that they wanted me to do. So during the first, like 2 to 3 months that I was there, I just pretended that I couldn't speak a word of Korean.
So how did everything work, man? Because you're being like pretty much.
You know what the hard part about that is pretending that you can't understand something, because sometimes it's just like instinct. Like when someone says something, you're gonna be like, what was that? Like, to not do that.
Yeah. It's like fighting your own instincts, pretty much.
Yeah, you're fighting that instinct, but like it worked in the sense that because they couldn't do anything, no one could explain anything to me. I'm just sitting around doing nothing. And then like I got caught, which is why the whole charade like
just fumbled.
So yeah, just fell to the ground. And it was during I guess what you call during a football match.
Yeah.
And someone just tripped me, and
yeah.
I just said all the curse words that I knew in Korean, like just so fluently.
Yeah.
Like so eloquently, like I lived here in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then like I was angry at the guy for tripping me, but then I immediately realized my mistake. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm so screwed now. And I was like, I did so much like cleaning and and like lifting shit
Bro,
for
did,
weeks.
did did anyone laugh it off though after a while from like
I
just
mean,
the
yeah,
fact?
yeah. People, like the people who are in the same position as me, like they're doing mandatory military service, like they're able to laugh it off. Like the people who are actually like soldiers for that's their profession.
Hmm.
Um, they're a bit more salty about it.
Oh
I don't,
no.
I don't think they were ever like cool up until I left.
Uh
Um, but yeah, I don't regret it. It got me out of a lot of work.
I bet you got you were called like privileged kids and all that shit. Because I mean, because this, first of all, where I'm from, like every time if I decide to go back now, they would just see like I'm privileged and a fucking arrogant bastard. That's what they would see me as. But they're not knowing I'm actually a cool guy. you know. So I mean, talking about it, I got a question on that, right? You know, when you were pretending that you don't speak Korean, right? How hard was life for everybody around you? How hard was it for them?
I mean, I don't want to say it's that hard. I think they were just all jealous that I was just sitting around doing nothing. Um, there wasn't really any interaction. Like, what are you supposed to do? It's like it would be like talking to a wall because I'm pretending that I don't understand anything and I'm just going what at everything.
Wait, so
Um,
how long was the mandatory service for again? It's like
it's for 21 months.
so for the first 2 to 3 months you were just doing fuck all.
Yeah. You can't make me do anything.
But after that you were just pretty much doing
Yeah.
everything though.
Yeah, for a while.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's
Jesus. Anyway,
but
let me bring you back to powerlifting. When did you realize you were strong? Strong as fuck. Not just strong, strong as fuck. When did you realize that?
Like I knew that I was pretty gifted athletically at a pretty young age. Like I talked about like being really short and small in middle school and stuff, but I definitely had the athleticism.
Mhm.
Um, and like I kind of dabbled with lifting weights. I started lifting weights when I was around 13, 14 years old. And I knew that it came pretty naturally to me. It was pretty easy for me, and I would make progress more quickly than others. But it was so on and off that like couldn't really see any results from it. When I started taking powerlifting seriously was pretty late. It was after the army, so I would have been 25 at the time. Um, and I was already pretty big then. I think I weighed like 95 kg,
Mhm.
and during that first year that I started powerlifting, I bulked to around 102. But my total started at 600 kg, and by the end of that year, it was at 800. So
Jesus.
um, that's like during that year, I was like during that because I was also self-programming because I was learning about programming, and I just wanted to kind of test it on myself.
Mhm.
So like there was a lot of self-studying and stuff like that, but like just the principles that I applied, I ate right, I slept right, and I just like it just came really naturally, it came really easily.
So would you say you competed almost immediately when you found powerlifting?
No, because I spent a year in Korea training at like a commercial gym, like it wasn't even a
Ah,
powerlifting gym. And I don't know how long IPF Korea has even been around. I didn't hear of it at all when I was just out of the army.
mm,
So I thought the only outlet for me to compete in powerlifting was to go back to the States, which is why I actually lived in LA for a year in 2019. And that's when
whoa,
I competed at Raw Nationals in 2019 as well. So a year after training, that's when I first competed.
whoa, man, that was a lot of hoops to pretty much go around, man. Because to be fair, we didn't even know that there was the IPF Korea Federation until much
Right.
later down the line, up until when like Esther Bay
Yeah.
and all those people like surfaced into like the international scene in IPF.
Yeah.
So man, that must have been hard for you too to sort of like look for it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there would have been an outlet in Korea, but that outlet would have been IPF Korea. So like in the long run, obviously, it worked out that I didn't discover it. Um, but yeah, I really legitimately could find no information on powerlifting Korea. Maybe I was just not looking in the right places, but
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I guess I have to go back to the States to do this. So I did.
You know, you said you were like pretty much self-coaching yourself for a good while.
Mhm.
Um, I'm curious to know would you say did you sort of learn from, like what influenced your self-coaching style to pretty much how you train now and everything else?
Candido is definitely a big one. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, he's one of the pioneers for raw powerlifting and uh, programming and coaching for raw
Hmm.
powerlifting.
Yeah.
Um, Pat Wesley Smith,
Yep.
uh, yep, and like and Mike T, like a lot of these guys, like who are, I guess, the old guard now.
Yeah, the
Um,
OGs pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Man.
but so they
So
they they influenced it a lot.
would you say the
Mhm.
first program you ran in yourself, piloting style wise, was Candido's Intermediate or something?
It was a variation off of that. I looked at the template and I just tried to figure out how to make it work slightly better for myself.
Yeah.
And I was always trying to do that. I was always trying to individualize it. And now working as a coach, I realized how important that is, just how
Hmm.
different people are from one another.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, like and it gets even weirder, like with top level lifters, like how Joe, my coach Joe, would program for like my squat or deadlift progressions would be way different from anyone else.
Yeah.
So like these individual differences are really important, and that's something that I started like pretty much immediately when I started powerlifting.
Yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
understand that. Like the whole why would your program look like a typical program when you yourself aren't even a typical lifter? If that makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, but say Drew,
so
you're saying?
what you're trying to say, that's why you normally program me my program like that, because I'm not a typical lifter.
Yeah.
By the way, Keenan,
N-
Joe is my coach. That's what I'm asking. Like, what he made a comment there. I'm thinking that's why my program looks like hard, because I'm not a typical lifter, right?
No,
Anyway,
because
my question to you,
basically that stemmed from the fact that I've collaborated with Kedrick. I don't know if you're familiar
Mhm.
with Kedrick Kwan, and Kedrick himself told me like, man, his programming doesn't look like a typical program, and I was like, yeah, well, Durance isn't your typical dude either. He's w- one in a million sort of
so
lifter.
when you hear all these people screaming around like I work harder than the rest, I just laugh. I just laugh because you don't know what's cooking in the garage. My question to you, Keenan, I know you mentioned there now you're a coach in Korea. I think you've mentioned in one of the podcasts I was listening to, you said that you quit your job and now you're
Yeah.
just purely
Now
just
now now
coaching.
I'm coaching full time. Yeah.
That's nice. So how are you finding in terms of like in because now especially with things that you're doing on the platform as we mentioned is actually selling your service and selling the sport in Korea itself. You don't even need to be on social media. You just need to perform on the platform. That's what you've been doing. So how are you finding in terms of like the newcomers that come into powerlifting? Are you getting more of like younger generations, more ladies, or older generation? How is it in Korea?
Well, there are more women in powerlifting in Korea now, but that's mostly in part due to what Esther has been doing.
Oh, right, okay,
Um,
yeah, with the strong
yeah.
girls sort of
So
movement.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's not me. But it's definitely a younger generation of people who are more interested in powerlifting because I feel like the culture within powerlifting is so heavily influenced by Western culture, just because
Hmm.
of who are the most influential people within the Korean powerlifting community. It would be myself. It would be Daniel of Train True. We're both Americans, and
Hmm.
that influences it a lot. So they a lot of new lifters, right? They're in their early 20s. Some of them are even in their teens. Um, Whereas before, like I'd see a lot of people in their late 20s or even early 30s, right? So people are starting at a much earlier age, and they come in with I think a higher base level of knowledge as well, like understanding the importance of programming, understanding the importance of nutrition, um, and this one is just a pet peeve of mine, like doing their accessories.
Mm.
Like they so like I think overall the base level of knowledge within the community has definitely gone up. And it's like there's a lot of reasons for it. It's like a lot of the reasons why people didn't know a lot about this stuff in the past is because it's most of the information out there is all in English.
Mm.
Um, but now like there are people who are being able to provide these services in Korean. There are people who are able to, learn this now. I myself, like, because I don't want to take on so many clients, I like to be really like close with my clients. I want to pay a lot of attention to them, and I think just adding more and more is gonna make that harder to do. And I also
Yeah.
have my priorities as an athlete,
It,
so like
dil-
to grow.
it dilutes your service pretty much.
Exactly, yeah. In order for myself to grow, like I've taken on interns and they primarily speak Korean, so I'm like teaching them what I know.
Hmm.
So like through that, like we can definitely help grow the community, but also make sure that the people who join the community have the right information from the get-go. They don't get hurt. They're making progress. So yeah, I think overall is there's just a lot more people in the community and they're a lot more well versed in powerlifting, but and for whatever reason they just tend to be younger.
Yeah. I have a question from your coach, from you as a coach. You're saying that a lot more people are coming up, I would say, to you, right, with a lot more
Mhm,
base information as to how powerlifting is and everything else, and
mhm,
the importance of programming and nutrition and all sorts. But on the other hand, though, just I don't know, maybe it's just me being a little bit cynical here, but um, say for example that you were approached by someone who you would say has a relatively good
mhm.
knowledge of what piloting is, but then whatever knowledge or information that you share with them, they feel a bit, I don't know, skeptical about, I would say, but because they feel as though what they know already is the right way, and then there's a kind of clash. Would you say that has happened, or you've seen it happen around you at all?
I, I've seen it happen around me. I wouldn't necessarily say that it happens to me all too much
Mm-hmm.
because of how I do as an athlete. It's hard to kind of question what I recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Like not a lot of my lifters don't do that. I actually honestly want some of them to be a bit more open and a bit more critical with the stuff that I put into their programming and the feedback that I give them. They don't really do that for me. I definitely see it with others. I think that even well, still in Korea, um, coaches need to excel as athletes for people to recognize them as good coaches. That's still a thing in Korea. I feel like it's less so in America. People have established this themselves as great coaches, even if they
Without.
don't have the same results on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
But Korea is definitely not at that stage yet. So I feel like that's also why a lot of people come to me because in on terms of performance on the platform, I'm unmatched in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So
How does that make
because
you
of
feel,
that,
actually? How do you feel like you're unmatched in like a whole nation, like with a population of, I
I
think,
mean,
was
the
it?
whole continent, you mean, no nation, the whole continent.
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. Yeah, the whole continent.
I don't know if I can speak on about the whole con. I feel like there's some really strong guys who are just hiding, like I was.
Mm, yeah.
But in Korea specifically, a country of over 50 million people, honestly, I'm pretty disappointed. Um,
Oh.
it, it's it because like it's I guess it's because of how I'm wired. But I don't necessarily think the effort and the intensity that I put into my training is hard to do.
Mm,
But I don't see anyone else doing it. Um, I don't see anyone else trying to educate themselves as much with when it comes to like how to prevent or how to deal with injuries because that's something that I have to deal with a lot. It's just it happens when you're dealing with the loads that I do. And like they're not well versed in nutrition. Like I don't see people educating themselves outside of the gym. And I definitely don't see the same effort that I put forth in the gym as well. And I think that's the reason why I'm way above the rest of the competition here. It's really that because there's no way that I'm the only one with the genetics to do this.
yeah.
Out of a country of 50 million people, I shouldn't be the only one.
You know what? I've just
Sorry, Joey, just like,
yeah,
let
go
me
on.
just follow up what she just said. Hold yours, yeah. Um, would you say that could be from the fact that powerlifting is so much okay? The sport we do is more about people will hate me in this, but it's a hobby, right? Powerlifting really,
Mm.
if you're not a coach like yourself, you position yourself as a full-time coach, you're earning a living from it, yes. But as a lifter, you do not earn a living from it. If I stop my work and just full-time powerlifting as a lifter, I would end up on the street. Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
because it's not
Right.
a sport that pays you anything. Do you believe that is a part of it as well in Korea? Because there are people thinking, I'm strong, but if I go and do this, I'm not going to get paid. What's the point of me doing this?
That yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. That's true everywhere though. And like recently with the USAPL doing the Pro Series and stuff, like the payouts obviously aren't enough for someone to actually just make a living off of powerlifting, but at least it's trending in the right direction. So maybe, a few years or maybe even a decade down the line, we can see people who actually like can just be a full-time powerlifter, and they can just earn money off of the payouts that they get from the competitions that they do and the endorsements that they get. I don't really think anyone is there yet, because like people in powerlifting who still have a lot of endorsements, or who really do make money just off of the lifting. It's not really off of the lifting. Like Russ, for example, it's off his brand, right? And he has is a YouTube channel that he needs to continuously promote and put videos on. He has a Instagram page to do that, to be like active on. So it's not powerlifting is not really paying his bills. It's how he's managed to use it for
Transform his
himself.
brand. Yeah. I was gonna
That
mention
is so
though,
stressful.
like, I was gonna mention though, Keenan. I'm pretty sure you must have heard about this, but like, bro, there was a show I watched on Netflix. You might have heard of it, like Physical 100, and then the prize money
Okay,
was like
all right.
300
It
million
was
won, bro.
300 million one is like $250,000 US.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a small amount of money. It's also just one person takes all.
Yeah.
So it's like a Squid Game thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about that because I don't even. I guess I am allowed to say it. No one told me not to say it. I was invited on season 2.
Bro, you're like athletic as fuck. Like, did you watch?
I don't.
I don't know if you watched the
I
events, but I thought of you immediately when I saw some of the events, bro. And you could have been banging them out.
what
Like,
happened, mate? 250K, man. Come on.
I don't really. I actually like. I'm still on the fence about it.
but you
And
Because,
could.
plus,
well, for
over
one
there,
thing,
I don't think the drug test as well. They don't.
no, I know they don't, because I know some specific people on that show would be on that show if they did.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's controversy about the first place, like who got first place and stuff
I
like
heard
that as
about it.
well,
I heard about it,
right?
bro. Like about
Yeah,
the producers wanted to
yeah,
potentially stop, and then no, they're like, no, continue on, and
no,
so on and so
yeah.
forth.
Like
But
they wanted to redo the who got first place because it was such a big margin of victory. Like,
yeah. That was
it
fucked,
doesn't
bro.
it doesn't seem like a sport then. And also, like, I've heard from people like what the events are, and like people around me are telling me like, I don't think you can powerlift and do this at the same time.
Nah,
Like, you would
nah,
be
nah.
I would be bedridden for weeks afterwards.
Yeah, no. So,
Um,
bro, the events itself, man, it's not just about feats of strength. It's like endurance,
yeah,
like agility and shit like that. And technically a stroke of luck, man, because there were some events that I think, man, like there's no way this person would have lost had he still been in the competition still. But yeah,
mhm,
other than that, I'm just saying, it's still, just to show off the athleticism of a powerlifter. It's an
yeah,
avenue to take, and I know you're
yeah.
saying you could potentially be in season 2. I don't know if you've rejected it entirely, or are we gonna see you in the next Netflix, or like we know this dude, da, 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 da.
Uh,
But
yeah, I haven't made like my decision 100% yet. Probably gonna lean on the side of not doing it. The one thing that does bother me about it is that there was a guy who came onto that show under the title of powerlifter.
dude, I
Um,
saw, and I was,
you saw that, you were disappointed.
bro,
Um,
yeah, man.
that guy he's never competed in a powerlifting competition.
No, they showed him benching like 220, and he must have weighed like 140 plus, bro.
Yeah, well, so he's essentially just a bench presser, and his like main skill is actually arm wrestling.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm annoyed by that representation,
You could
right?
be you could
Because
be the game
But
changer,
you can
bro.
fix that, Kenan. You can fix that. Show them a true power lifter. Do you know what I mean? Because we get that in Britain, right? Don't get me wrong. In Britain, we get people going on BBC or whatever these TV channel calling themselves powerlifters, walking around over all these singlets and all that crap. We get it. But the true powerlifters, where we are, we're sitting and thinking, mate, my my first warm up is your fucking lifetime tour. How the fuck are you calling yourself a powerlifter? Do you know what I mean? So, but we make it right by literally giving the performance. In Korea, as you said, you can fix that.
yeah, it doesn't give people a good image of what a powerlifter is or what a powerlifter looks like because like to excel at this sport, like you can't like you
You can't be
unless you're a
flat.
super heavyweight. Yeah, unless you're a super heavyweight, like it just makes sense to have a lot of muscle mass compared to body fat on your frame to maximize the
Yeah.
potential of that
Yeah.
weight class and to actually deal with the amount of volume that you have to hit to make progress. You have to be you have like you're not going to have excellent conditioning. You're not going to be like an endurance athlete, but like my conditioning is pretty good. Like I'm not going to get gassed because I do a set of 10 or even 20 squats.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, like I don't know what your final decision is, bro, but hopefully you make a good one.
All right, yeah, yeah, no pressure. All
And
right.
and talking about price money, mate, the Sheffield.
Oh shit, yeah, I wanted to bring that up earlier.
I know we were talking about how can you earn a check for you to retire from your job and potentially be a full timer. The Sheffield.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about it?
Yeah, obviously, like, and the thing is, like, because Sheffield's obviously associated with the IPF, and they're marketing it as like the greatest collection of lifters ever, which I mean, it is in a sense. You're missing some key names there, though, right?
Mm.
Myself included, Bob Ashton, Russ,
Rondell.
Rondell, like Austin Perkins, basically all of the USAPL guys, Brandon Peachy, like we're not there,
Mm-hmm.
But you guys don't
right?
exist for IPF. For IPF, you guys don't
Exactly,
exist.
exactly, right? So that's why I don't like all this fragmentation in powerlifting because I would love to like as someone who is consistently under 105 in body weight, I'd love to
Mhm.
be in a position where it's me, Ashton, Bob, Anatoly, Emil, Michael
Oof.
Davis. Like we're a stacked weight class. It's just that we're divided.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a
Mhm.
bit sad. But
Because
man,
a man of yourself, your caliber as well, we're talking about, if we talk about Sheffield, for removing about the IPF and all of that crap, right? If you turn up in Sheffield, you're walking away with like over 50 grand.
Right, because it's like there's records that can be broken, and I can break this. I can break the world record squat right now,
Mate, you know, just the
and I can,
squat, mate. You
yeah,
break all of
and
them.
and I can crush the world record total. Yeah, so um, obviously, like I don't. That's not up to me, like to get that to have that outlet to Sheffield, unless obviously I go the Powerlifting America route,
mhm.
um, which isn't out of the question. But like I still think like you know I don't know. There should be a way, like, put federations aside, stop letting politics get in the way of just having the best lifters be able to compete against one
True.
another.
The
Yeah.
criteria to win or to place in the Sheffield right now. I don't know if it will change in the following years or anything like that, but it's about the percentage over the world records, right? And I don't know if you've discussed this with your fellow lifters in Korea or in America or anywhere else, but it seems to me that there's this sort of trend now where at the IPF world stage they purposely like not sort of push the world record so much, so
Yeah.
it kind of skews what this person's true potential is up until they go to the Sheffield sort of. So I don't know if that affects the I don't know the performance of lifters all in all at the world stage, which is where you could be a world champion, not just a SBD Sheffield champion
Mhm.
sort of thing. So I don't know
Right.
what you think of that. Like, is it actually a good thing that they just like let me sandbag a little bit, so let me save myself for like the Sheffield, or fuck it, like let me go ham here, and I'll still go ham in the Sheffield, without potentially, I don't know, hurting themselves or just putting themselves in a position where fuck, I can't beat my own world record total, or I can't beat X world record total. So
I think I think the best case scenario here is I don't actually. Do you guys know when IPF Worlds is this year?
June.
Yes,
June, right?
June.
Right. Yeah. That's too quick of a turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like if these top level, if these guys are who are competing in Sheffield, right, and Powerlifting America just had its nationals not too long ago as well. Like these events are all way too close to one another,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think it's the maximum like a top level lifter should be competing is like 3 times a year, um, just so that yeah they don't get hurt. Because I feel like part of the reason why my Arnold's prep didn't go that well is because I competed 4 times in like 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that those need to be separated, especially if you want IPF Worlds to remain what it is. You want Sheffield to remain what it is, and if you can keep those like 6 months apart, I think that athletes should go ham at both because sandbagging IPF Worlds sounds stupid,
Yeah.
right? But that's also it's also like the fragmentation of like these federations, and also like there are just certain weight classes there where just one person dominates. The 74s, for example, like who's
Taylor
gonna push
Atwood.
Taylor? Yeah, who's gonna push Taylor Atwood to not sandbag?
Only time will tell,
Only,
bro.
only, only,
Right.
only injuries can put him not to sandbag. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
sandbag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So for like maybe like other weight classes, 93s is a perfect example. Like if Jonathan Cake or Chance Mitchell, if they're not on their game, Emil can take that from them.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So like in that scenario, like you actually have a world title on the line. I feel like those guys are going to go all out at Worlds and then also go all out at Sheffield. I just want to see that for all these other weight classes as well.
Mm-hmm. Man. Uh, man, Juris, I think we're good for last few questions. Keenan as well. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me go first, Joe, and then you can because you started, so you can close up. So I potentially just got two, Keenan, in terms of like again, this is powerlifting, and as I said in the beginning, you just showed out of nowhere. You start literally killing this game in terms of like your work ethic, as I watch you on Instagram and what you're doing on the platform. Would you say, out of all the athletes that you have that you're coaching and you're looking after, you are almost cooking the next Keenan Lee?
I think there are some people who have the potential to do so. I really do think it is a mindset. It's a work ethic thing. Like the person I've been coaching the longest is actually my younger sister, and the reason why I got her into powerlifting, I think it's been around 3 years now, was because she was super underweight, like really low muscle mass for someone of her age,
Mm.
and her height should be like so like you have bone density concerns at that point. So I was like, you should probably do this for your health. Right? She weighed like 45, 46 kilos, and she's like 5'3". So or 5'2". I don't actually don't know, but she was really underweight, and so I just wanted her to do this for her health. And
Mm-hmm.
when she first started, like what was I think the total was like 160, 170, maybe something around that. Um, she qualified for nationals in December. So like I honestly and the like so I don't necessarily think that she's genetically as gifted as I am, even
Mm-hmm.
though we come from the same parents. I think that I kind of like a lot of that just kind of went to me, and it's also I'm an anomaly within my family. Like no one looks like me, no one's as tall as me, no one's as big as I am. So
Your mom was eating a lot of vegetables. That's why when she was pregnant.
maybe, maybe. Yeah, so I'm definitely the genetic anomaly, but like just with what my sister has done, she's essentially more than doubled her total within three
Damn.
years. And it's just because like she's my sister, so she spends a lot of time around me, and she's kind of like a lot of my just work ethic, a lot of what I do, like my mindset has kind of just rubbed off on her, and she's really
Mhm.
consistent with her training. She's really consistent with her sleep and stuff like that. Um, and that's allowed her to get to where she is. So I feel like out of the athletes that I coach, some of them have definitely the potential genetically to excel at this,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just about making sure that they uh,
Or nurtured
take
in the
away
right
from me,
direction. Yeah.
right? They're nurtured, yeah, they're taken along the right direction, and I feel like yeah, some of my athletes that's definitely possible.
Damn.
No,
Yeah.
no, I mean, yeah, the thing is, like, again, as you mentioned there, like, I know you were saying, like, you believe there's someone out there stronger than you in Korea. You're not the only one, right? In terms of like the genetics and all of that.
Mhm.
And I believe when I'm sitting here, I believe we need to be the ones that have to draw these people out of the wood and bring them to the platform and bring them to what we do. So, and what you're already doing that. That's why I ask you about if there's anyone that you think like you're cooking the next Keenan Lee. My last one will be in terms of like the future, right? The nationals coming, I think it's September, I think, right? They on in America.
September. Yep. Yep.
So, um, what number? Because as a lifter, probably I'm the only one on this planet that doesn't think about numbers when I'm gonna hit my next meet. I'm probably the only one. Literally, I can put my hands up. I don't care. But as a lifter, what numbers are you thinking for you to hit for your next meet
You
in
want
terms
the
of like
do
all three?
okay, you want all three because you probably know what the total is. It's a
You want
it's
a
a
thousand?
it's 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
know
a
the total. Yeah,
it's 1,000. Like if I hit my third attempts at if I went for all my third attempts and hit all my third attempts at the Arnold, it would have put me at 980. I'm not that far away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my bench progresses the slowest, but it's also plateaued for 3 years, and I finally broke that plateau. So I think I'm definitely by September. I'm in the ballpark for 230, 232 and a half. Which then means that I'll need to squat around the 375, 377 and a half, which I think is completely doable. I haven't had to really push a deadlifting competition. Um, well, I missed the one in December because my thumbs were bleeding by after my opener. But like to actually like go for max effort deadlift. I haven't had to do that. I don't know what my top level strength for deadlift is. I think it's already in the 385, 390 range, but I think with these numbers, if I hit 395, that puts me at 1,000.
Jesus. That is so scary. And all of that, you're doing all of that. Well, I mean, in IPF, we call it like what, 105s, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm not too sure about that. I really do want to win nationals, and I feel like it would be kind of foolish of me to
Not to fill it out.
not to fill
Yeah.
out 110. But it is also kind of hard for me to other than the week that I spent in the States. Like I don't really normally go that crazy with food. But it's generally pretty hard for me to put on weight.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much weight I'll be gaining by then. I'll try to be in a caloric surplus the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But I won't water cut for it, but I'll probably be in the up between 105 and 110.
Cool, bro. Oh man,
That's amazing. I
just
can't wait.
I thought I
I
thought
literally
I
can't.
I thought I had two questions left, but let me put the extra one I just thought of now. I know
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned like you feel a bit like disappointed, right, with how
Mm-hmm.
your peers are in Korea compared to you.
Mm-hmm.
But should hypothetically, right, a dude similar sort of weight class as you,
Mm-hmm.
like puts up a total that's like that rivals yours. So there'll be, basically a rivalry, right? But
Yeah.
is in the, I don't know, the IPF Korea.
Yeah.
Would would you say, just a quick yes or no? Would that like sort of put you in a position where, let me go head to head against this guy and see who comes out on top, or would you just be like, uh, I still have like Rondell, and so on and so forth to sort of deal with.
Uh, it's not necessarily like the nationality that would bother me. I would just want to beat whoever's the best in my weight class. So if there's like a guy somehow in Korea shows up with in the 105s with a 950 total that no one knew about.
Hmm.
Um, so if this happens again, then I like more like I can't compete in IPF Korea with its current leadership.
Hmm.
Um, so if that guy does compete with IPF Korea, he probably end up going to Worlds. He should go to Worlds. IPF Korea would be stupid to not make that happen.
Hmm.
Um, I would probably try to go head to head against him at PNets through PNets.
Gee. Okay, cool. These are my original last two questions. So USAPL is expanding, right? It
Mm-hmm.
has USAPL Australia, USAPL England now, USAPL
Mm-hmm.
Korea, so on and so forth. Is there a location that you would want USAPL to expand to, or is there already one that where they're is a USAPL brand established that you want to visit?
Okay, yeah. Um, I've already visited one of the other USAPL affiliates, the one in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
So I was there. I did a meet the week before the one in Korea. Um, and like they have a great organization there. Chapman, the guy who runs all of it, he's also like has the same like mindset about powerlifting as Daniel does. So like it's it's not about like what country I want to see have a USAPL affiliate. It's more about who is running it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think the USAPL hit the jackpot with Hong Kong and with Korea, like who are running those affiliates. Um, so I just want to see the right people in charge, regardless of
Mm-hmm.
what that country is. I do want to see like how Australia is going about it, what Australia is doing, because they were the first,
Yeah.
right? And they're also the ones who are the first to do a pro qualifier, right? Their payouts for one of their meets, the one that Charles Opoko competed in, that those
Mm-hmm.
payouts were huge. Like I want to see what that environment's like, what they're doing, and how they're making it so successful there. I mean,
Cool.
part of the reason why USAPL Australia is able to do that is because there's a lot of problems with their IPF affiliate as well. I think
Yeah.
there's definitely a relationship between how successful the USAPL affiliate does and how poorly their IPF affiliate is run.
Cool. Man,
I
yeah.
think that's been going on with every country. If there is an issue with IPF, there's a USAPL there.
Yeah. They can,
Yeah,
I feel as
it
though
seems like it.
the USAPL brand can establish themselves better. Like for example, if they try to like, I don't know, just an example, I could be wrong here, but if they try to open up in France,
Mm,
there's there's a huge stronghold of IPF like as a
yeah.
federation in France. So I find it harder. But man, like you said, like with Australia and even with Korea, like
Yeah.
it'd probably be better. Not saying that that's the only factor that makes it good, because
Yeah.
like you said, like Daniel
Yeah.
Kim is like a perfectionist, so he's making it
Hmm.
so where USAPL is that much better than the opposing IPF federation affiliate there. And
Yeah.
my last question, right? I know you said you were born in Korea, spent
Hmm.
some parts of your childhood here in England, and
Hmm.
majority of your growing up in the States, and so on and so forth. But this is not powerlifting related, but I just want to know: an is there like a specific food you like to eat there in Korea that you were like, damn, I wish I knew about this sooner, man?
In Korea?
Yeah, like I know you're on top of your nutrition and everything else, but there
Yeah.
must. I'm just wondering, like, if you're food move. I guess you are food motivated because you're talking about like, what's it called, Chipotle and everything else.
Yeah.
When you went to the States, so is there anything like in Korea that you're like, yeah, man, this is the one. I can keep it eating it as as frequent as I can or as a treat.
Are you asking this as like a food recommendation or uh
Because he likes
But
food, so he
both,
want to get
bro,
that.
like food recs. I don't know, man. Just like, what do you like?
I mean honestly, like there is something about the way there's two things here. They're not traditional Korean food because like I have like an American palate
Hmm.
uh just because I did my growing up there. So like if you I don't know, maybe if you brought my grandma here, she would have told you to go eat kimchi or something, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
Um, uh, uh, so they're not necessarily like what you would consider like Asian food, but Korean barbecue and the way that they do fried chicken is it's
second to
different, but
none.
it's excellent. It's
S-
excellent.
Man, I've been told it's second to none, and I've yet to try it, so I'm really looking forward
Yeah,
to.
like there are Korean barbecue. I went to a Korean barbecue place while I was like when I was kind of visiting. I visited my hometown in Michigan after the Arnold. And I went to a Korean barbecue place where I went to college, and it's not the same. Like
Mm.
you got to do one in Korea. You got to do fried chicken in Korea. It's just yeah, it's they 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 love both of those here. So they do it really well.
But okay, cool. Thank you so much, man. Like
Absolutely.
you kind of confirmed what I want to try when I go there anyway. But yeah, thanks, thank you. Yeah, just like I say, we appreciate you for coming on.
Mhm.
If you have any last few words to say, you want to say it now?
No, I mean, thank you guys for having me on. It's like I think it's an honor to be on a podcast like this. You've had like world champions on this podcast. So
We've
like
had your rivals on this,
you
bro. We've had
you've had my rivals
Rondell.
on this. Yep, yep. You've had all of them. All the people who I feel like I'm going up against. You've had all of them on this podcast. So, you know, being included in that group is definitely an honor. So like thanks for having me on. And I had a great time.
Oh man, it was a pleasure. But yeah, Jones, anything else to say?
No, I just want to say that before the national, so I'm planning to before your national in September. Hopefully, I'm just trying to look at Ashton and Bob's time. I'm gonna have three of you guys on it. If you will be available, it would be nice to have three of you guys and us to just chat shit about powerlifting before your nationals.
Yeah, bro.
All right, absolutely. I'm not sure how serious the shit talking is gonna get.
Hey, it could be.
Actually,
Oh,
we
Bob will
don't.
make it entertaining. Bob will make it
Yeah,
entertaining. Trust me.
I know. I know. I met him for the first time while I was there. Like he's actually like
He's
it's
super chill.
yeah, he's super chill. It's like and Ashton's like a super close friend of mine. Even though we've only met twice. But it's so like it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go. We're not actually gonna like try to fight over the internet.
Nah, nah,
But
nah, nah, nah.
it's gonna
But
be
we,
fun.
I mean, we could still make it spicy and just say like after the nationals, we could just have the winner back on and then leave the others out. So it could be you, it
Oh
could be
yeah, oh
Bob.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, it
yeah.
would be
That would
really nice to have lifters like you guys in one platform, just sit down and talk shit. Because again, like is what we said, isn't it? We're trying just to spread the word about powerlifting. Just imagine like three of you on one platform. How many people will watch and how many people learn from you guys? So that's what we want.
Exactly. But yeah, Keenan, man, I appreciate for coming on and discussing a lot of stuff with us. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your evening, right? And
yep,
I'll speak to you soon, man.
Thanks,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Bye.
All
All
right.
right.
Yep.
Take care,
Thank
bro.
you.
Bye bye.
Thanks.